Can you sound chipper?
This is my happy face. What's up, man?
How's it going?
Great.
That's fantastic. All right.
Thanks.
We'll see you later.
All right, take it
What's
easy.
going on? Are we waiting for anybody?
No.
Okay.
Just hanging out.
Oh, you know what? I got that shirt that you just brought for me. Like a test shirt?
Yeah.
I like it.
You like it? I think it's pretty cool. I messed up a couple of them. So
When you say a couple, you mean like 5?
3.
Okay.
So I'm going to wear them when I go to New York next week. And then just,
So they're going to be all backwards?
and then just leave them there.
Why?
Well, because when I travel, I like to pack my suitcase full of shit that I'm not bringing back.
Do you really do that?
I do it all the time. I did it when I went to Paris. It was amazing.
Is that where your cat went?
Yeah.
Because I was looking for that one black cat.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's Paris.
Socks. What's his name?
Socks. It was Boots.
Boots.
Yeah, it was Boots.
Yeah, what the hell happened to that guy? He's
Paris,
somewhere
man.
in Paris just smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, that's the truth, Ruth.
With the rat. What'd you say?
Nothing. Why? What did you think I said? What did you hear?
Oh, you know what? So I asked the guys what would be the top 3 bands that they would want to see, like their dream bands, their dream concert.
Yeah, I heard. I listened.
Okay, so
It's one of my favorite episodes.
so what would your 3 be?
You know, I was thinking about that.
Was it Modest Yahoo? Because if it's Modest Yahoo, we're gonna have to just end this conversation
It
like
wasn't.
now. Okay,
It
good.
wasn't.
Here, because I've already seen him 18 times.
Headlining would be Frank Sinatra. I got
Okay.
that part figured out.
Okay. And then Michael Jackson. Oh, that's easy. Okay, so David Bowie, then Michael Jackson.
Nah, David Bowie can fucking eat a fat
Okay,
plate
so
of enchiladas.
those are like the
You can have that enchilada pizza or whatever.
yeah,
That
that's what I'm talking
pizza.
about.
It was enchilada pizza, right?
Yeah, with the egg and government cheese on top. Hell yeah, dog. Okay, so
So Frank Sinatra,
Right.
for goddamn sure.
okay, I don't know why you had to be so violent about it, but okay, don't be mad.
I'd really like to see The Cure, not the fucking.
Would it be like that? Like you know when you're walking into the venue, like there could be like a little side stage, like oh cool, they're checking my my what's that thing called that you wrap around your waist?
Fanny pack?
Yeah, they're checking
I
your
don't
fan-
know what you're talking about.
I just barely did the motion. You're like fanny pack, got it. Show me fanny pack. Oh, okay, I think that's it.
You want to answer that? Or just why don't have your phone ring, dude?
Shut up. Hello. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, how's it going?
Good. How you doing? How's that sound?
It sounds
It
fantastic.
sounds perfect, man.
Awesome. Cool.
All right, Kevin. I'm Steve.
Hey, Steve.
Steve and I'm Alex, Kevin.
Steve and Alex. How you guys doing?
We're fantastic.
Yeah?
Yes. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm good.
That is good to
Hey,
hear.
I appreciate you rearranging your schedule.
Oh, no worries. It actually worked out better. My wife was working yesterday late, so this worked out better.
Okay, cool. So, like, it works out perfectly. Yeah, because I wasn't. Have you ever had a migraine before?
A migraine? No, I've actually never had one, thank goodness.
That's, you know what? You should be very happy about that.
I have family members and friends who've had them, and every time I watch it, it looks painful.
Yeah, it's very painful. So I get those from time to time. Usually, whenever there's clouds or there's rain that rolls around, and it kind of sticks.
And you live in Texas?
Yes,
So you're screwed.
pretty much. Yeah.
It's like saying I live in Seattle, and
Yeah, exactly.
every time it rains.
Exactly. So yeah, I get like that, and then it just hinders. Like it just not hinders. I guess it like hangs around for like
Lingers.
lingers. There you go. Not hinders.
Wow.
Lingers for like 2 days straight. It's kind of terrible. But anyway, I appreciate you calling in, and like I said, rearranging your schedule for us. I appreciate it.
Well, it's my pleasure.
All right, everybody. We want to welcome to the show Kevin Rahm, TV and movies. Kevin Rahm.
Yes.
You have a laundry list of like shows that you've been in, like pretty amazing shows that have been like Friends is one of them.
Yeah.
That's one of my all-time faves, and then the next one is Scrubs. You're in Scrubs for an episode.
Yes, I did.
Man, like I love those shows, and you got to be a part of it. Like, how do you feel about that?
About being a part of TV history.
Yeah, basically.
It's pretty. It's, and you can add Housewives and Mad Men to that. I mean, I feel like.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I was, I'm grateful. Friends was an interesting one because that was the show that I was watching in college. So when I was studying theater in college, that's the show that we would run home on Thursday nights to watch.
That's awesome.
And I'm going to date myself. We would set the VCR to record it.
Oh, I would do the same thing.
The what?
Yeah, the VCR. Which is that, Alex?
Yeah, no. I can. Steve is still older than me by like decades, but I know what you're talking about when you refer to a VHS. I used to have to do the same thing, but I was.
Your grandparents had one.
Actually, you know what? When the DVD player first came out, I got like super excited, and I went to go buy one for my mom. It cost like $300, $500, something stupid. But anyway, but the VHS, I feel like that's the vinyl of
totally
music.
Although the difference is, people aren't going to start buying VHS tapes because the quality's better.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's the only downfall.
Yeah, that's the only downfall.
I had worked with those producers for a year, Rykoff and Crane, who produced Friends. That was their first big show. They did like 2 other shows, and I was on one of the other shows for a year. And after it was over, it was on a show called Jessie with Christina Applegate.
Oh, that's right.
And after it was over, it was one of those things where they just called me and said, "Hey, do you want to come do this?" And I was like, "Yes."
Wait, let me check my schedule.
Hold on. Let me see if I'm yes. And that was the only time I've ever been set struck instead of starstruck. Like I walked into the set of the Central Perk, and I about lost my mind. I mean, I sat down on the couch and I was like, "Holy shit! This is. I'm in the Central Perk. This is when I was running home on Thursday nights in college after rehearsal or before rehearsal to make sure I watched Friends, and now I'm a part of it. That was amazing. That was a big one.
Yeah.
Did you get to meet Gunther?
I did not meet Gunther. Aww. He was not there. He was.
I'm sure he was there.
Actually, no. I met him. We didn't work together, but I did meet him. He was there that week. Actually, I think he was there the next week. The week I shot it, my episode, tape night, Courtney Cox's dad was really ill, and I was dying. Yeah. And so she was not there the week that I shot my episode. So on tape night, we did the scenes with her with a stand-in in front of the audience, and I did all my stuff with Lisa Kudrow with the audience. And then they had me come back the next week to shoot on tape night those scenes with Courtney Cox. And it was the episode. It was the Halloween episode that year, and it was the Halloween episode with Sean Penn. So I got to sit there and watch them shoot that Halloween episode, and then we shot our stuff. So they had it both ways.
That's pretty awesome. And then because those episodes after they're shot, they don't come out for a while, right?
Yeah, they're on a sitcom they're probably a month out, maybe 2 months out when you shot it. Yeah, and then toward the end of the season, every show it's less and less time that you have in between shooting it. Like on a drama, when you first start shooting a drama, we'll start shooting Lethal Weapon this year in June, and the first one won't air until September. Wow. But by the end of the season, when you're on episode 18, 19, if you do 22, you can be shooting 1 week and it's on the air in 2 weeks from that. Like on Housewives, by the time we got to the end of the season, it was like less than 3 weeks and it was on the air.
That show is a kind of like a staple to
which one? Desperate Housewives.
Desperate Housewives.
Well, especially here in San Antonio.
Right.
Is it?
Well, here in San Antonio, I mean, you got Eva Longoria, and then
of course.
And then that other dude, I can't remember that dude's name, but he's from here.
He comes out.
Yeah,
that guy. He comes out on that other show with Drew Barrymore.
Yeah,
the new zombie show on Showtime.
Yeah. Well, no, I think it's on Netflix or Hulu, right?
Maybe it is Netflix.
One of those. But I mean,
Ricardo's great. He kept his house and his family lived there the whole time, and he would fly back and forth.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I used to see him on commercials for the local university, because he graduated from Incarnate Word.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Well, I know.
He did his grad school at the Old Globe in San Diego, I believe.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome.
And I think Eva was probably doing the same thing because she was living here with Tony Parker while she was still filming that.
Yep. And I know that he would catch her. You know, she was flying private at that point, so sometimes Ricardo got to fly private with her.
Oh, that's awesome. But okay, so what I was trying to say is that that show is like it's set up a long list of one of the larger like television shows or series, I guess, in America now. It's like the Desperate Housewives of New Jersey, of Orange County, you know, like all those reality television shows. I mean, did you guys think that?
You think that's what sparked all that?
Well, yeah.
Oh, absolutely,
definitely.
It's funny because it's like that show came out of the gate hot. Not unlike Friends, where like season 1 it was a juggernaut, and it was in the zeitgeist, and everyone was a part of it. And I think it was within 2 years they had all those reality shows, the Real Housewives of. I mean, it's a direct correlation, I believe.
Yeah, definitely.
And then the funniest thing is, because I'm recognizable, but people oftentimes don't know why.
You're that guy.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh my God, I loved you in Smash," and I'm like, "I wasn't in that one." And then oftentimes they'd be like, "So what have you been on?" And around that time, I would say, Desperate Housewives. They go, "Oh, which one?" And I go, "The Desperate Housewives, the original,
the original one."
Yeah. I was like, I'm not on New Jersey or Atlanta Housewives.
So when y'all were shooting that, I mean, did y'all have a sense of what the show could actually grow to become? I mean, because technically it's still a part of everybody's everyone's life. I mean,
yeah, I didn't look. They had no idea. The joke is that first 6 episodes they were shooting. That first, and I did the same thing. How I did one episode of Grey's Anatomy when they first started, and I did episode 7, and they hadn't aired yet. And because I wasn't on Desperate Housewives until season 4, I think is when I showed up. But I had the experience a little bit on Grey's where everyone's just kind of you're very much in a bubble. You're doing this little show, you're doing your work. You don't really think much of it, and then all of a sudden it hits, and it's this huge thing, and you kind of never wrap your head around how big it is. Because when I was on Grey's, everyone was really friendly, and everyone was having a good time, and they all got along, and 2 years later, there's all these fights, and people, are not there anymore. But the same thing happened on Housewives. The joke was they were making this little show, and then it aired, and 3 months later, Oprah was on their set. You can't imagine. And nor should you imagine when you're shooting a show that it's going to do that, because that's lightning in a bottle. That's so rare that it hits that big that fast.
Yeah, it's very impressive. And so, what did your friends and family and everybody around you think that you were part of this freaking juggernaut of a show, like you said?
Well, it's funny, because by the time I joined it, it had kind of come down a little bit from that level. It wasn't, on the cover of every magazine. It was still a hit show, and millions of people were watching it. What surprised me the most was when I went. So I did this golf trip in Ireland, and it was right after Housewives had finished, but it was still airing there. New ones are still airing there, and I go, and people, you would have thought that I was Bono. or one of the friends during the heyday. It was crazy. People were stopping their cars in the middle of the street and getting out to come take a picture with me. Which was that was the only time I've experienced that kind of recognition. Because they only have, at the time they had unless you had a satellite dish, there were only really 2 television stations, and Housewives was the number 1 show on the number 1 station.
So it
was still airing. It was still airing new. So it was still fresh for them.
When did you move to Ireland?
When did I go?
No, when did you move there?
Yeah, when did you?
I started looking at property right away. I thought I could never live here. Where were we? We were in southwest Waterville, near Waterville, and I started people stopping their cars in the street. I went the first night I was there. One of my really good friends, a guy named Britt Johnson. We've been friends. We were roommates back in the day. We've been friends since we were both. He was a perfume model, and I was waiting tables.
Perfume models. That's nice.
And I got there the night before he did. And the night I got there, I met two of the guys on the trip I didn't know, and we were having a pint. And next thing you know, there's 70 people surrounding me at the bar at our hotel, and I've been invited in to dance with the bride at her wedding. and then like 30 minutes later, they had to Kennedy me through the kitchen to get me out of because I'd been mobbed by the wedding party, and they couldn't get me out of the room, so they had security to take me through the kitchen back into this little bar. It was, and I told my buddy Britt that day, and he's like, "No, there's no way, man. I don't know. They must. There's no. Come on, you guys are giving me a hard time. There's no way that happened." And my new friends were like, we were there. We totally saw it. And the next day, Britt and I are walking down the street of this little tiny town, going to this little golf shop to get rain gear we didn't have. And we're in the store, and all of a sudden, it's just me and Britt and the owner of the store in this little tiny store. And we look out, and all of a sudden, there's 30 people at the window pointing and taking pictures. And all three of us turned to look at the back wall to see who they were looking at. Because it still didn't dawn on me that it was me, and then of course they realized who it was. And it's a small town, and with social media, the word gets out fast. We saw the guy from Housewives last night; he's in town, and then everyone's kind of looking, and so it's magnified. That was a fun week. That was a very fun week. But then I thought, thank God I don't have to do this all the time. I actually enjoy going to the grocery store.
So you weren't having to do the whole name tag thing, "Hi, my name is Kevin."
Oh no, they knew exactly who I was there. It was the opposite. The first time I was ever quote unquote recognized, I was in my hometown of Shreveport, Louisiana. I'm at the airport, and I think I was on Judging Amy at the time. And this girl behind the desk was like, "I know you. Where do I know you from?" And I was like, "Well, I got a little smug, and I was like, well, I'm an actor." And she was like, "Oh, well, what show?" And I went, "Judging Amy." She goes, "No, what else?" And I proceeded to list everything I had ever done, including local Utah commercials I was doing when I was in college. And she's like, "No." She goes, "Did you go to RV Kerr?" And I went, "Elementary school?" She goes, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Yeah, we were in class together." I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
She's
After
all
being so smug, I was like, "Oh, clearly you recognize me because I'm an actor." But that was not it.
She's rolling her eyes. Oh, gee.
Yeah.
You're always like that, Kevin.
The ego on this guy.
I heard that Kevin Pollak, when he gets that question, they say, "Where do I know you from?" He just looks at him and says, "I don't know. I wasn't with you."
I guess
My
you could do
favorite,
it.
when they ask me, "Are you famous?" and I say, "Clearly not."
That's fantastic.
All right.
So we're here in San Antonio, which I think is approximately 452 miles away from your very favorite Dairy Queen.
Oh, approximately, yes, yeah.
Yeah, ish. So tell us about how much fun you had working there.
Well, you worked at Dairy Queen?
In Atlanta, Texas.
For one night. Atlanta, Texas, one night.
Why?
Okay, so for the record, just for posterity's sake, I have not been back to the Dairy Queen in at least 15 years. And so this is a long, long time ago. I'm sure it's cleaner now.
That's not what I'm putting on your Wikipedia. I'm putting that it's still your favorite Dairy Queen.
It's the last. I think it's the last Dairy Queen I went to. So I guess you could make that argument. Were you asking what happened?
Yeah. What happened with that?
So I needed a job, and I had a cousin who was the manager, and she goes, "Well, come work at the Dairy Queen." And the side story is that it was a little weird. It was a little awkward, the whole thing with her. She was attractive, and she was a little flirty, and too much so for her cousins.
Well, it's Texas.
Wife, it was
it's
my
Texas,
cousin's wife. We weren't related, but it was my cousin's wife. I was like, this is just weird. And so I went in, and I was the cleaning crew ultimately. So I never made a flurry or anything. But And the fact that I could pull that word is amazing to me. Good
I'm
marketing.
glad we brought that into the show.
Right?
We just looked at each other and mouthed the words, "What's a flurry?"
Oh, really? Well, I don't know if they have anymore. It was the original. It was the ice cream thing where the spoon, if you turn it upside down, the spoon stays in it.
I thought that was a blizzard.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it was used to be called a flurry, I think.
Sweet.
I may be making that up. Maybe that's somewhere else. Never mind. But I went in.
That's McDonald's. It's a McFlurry.
Oh, wow. Well, then,
Well,
McDonald's
shit,
is
somebody
their
stole
advertising.
something
That's the
from
first word
somebody.
that came to my mind. Of course, it's the Blizzard. Anyway, so I go in that night, and it was just weird. The whole thing was weird. That place, it was an old building, and I don't know if you've ever been in the back of a restaurant, but they have those rubber mats that you stand on when you're cooking and stuff. And my job was to, obviously after emptying all the grease, which was just vile, I had to pull those mats out and then hose down and mop the floor of the kitchen area and then hose those mats out outside and put them back.
You're talking about those rubber mats with the holes in them?
Yeah, they're like 2 inches thick, and they're heavy as all get out.
Yeah,
and I probably weighed 150 pounds soaking
that
wet at the
shit's
time.
disgusting.
And clearly at that Dairy Queen, either this hadn't happened a lot. I hope that they cleaned these out, or the people that worked behind there just did not give any care about what they dropped, and it was vile. The amount of food underneath it and in between it, and the smell that emanated when I lifted I gagged through the whole process, and nearly threw up several times, and probably worked about 3 hours that night until it was like 11 or 12 o'clock at night, and then I may or may not have been hit on by my cousin's wife, and then I felt unbelievably uncomfortable and never went back. I don't even think I got paid for the night. I don't think I ever filled out paperwork. So I actually wasn't officially employed by them, I don't think.
You weren't illegal. I got it.
But I said, I'm out. I can't do this anymore. And I got a job at a Catfish King.
Well, I bring that up because my wife and I own 13 Dairy Queens, and no, just
I was like, I'm going to do a spit take right now. I will come do free press for your 13 Dairy Queens after I inspect the kitchens.
Yeah. A+, please.
That's funny.
Yeah, I will not eat at because I used to be a bus boy at a local restaurant here in San Antonio, and I used to work late, and I used to go take all this shit to the back go get them washed, and there's a mat just like that he's referring to, that it made me just vomit, gag, like I threw up in my mouth, I gagged a lot. And I would never go back there. And sometimes my wife will be like, "Hey, guess where I'm at?" I'm like, "Do you want anything from there?" And I'm like, "Well, no."
I'm telling you, and I'm assuming they clean these regularly. It's probably
that's what you think.
Now.
How does it get that smell? How does it get that smell then?
It's the heat of the kitchen and the food on the floor and the residue and the grease and I never ate there.
Hello?
You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It sounded like
you sort of faded out. Sorry.
I just gagged a little bit.
Hey, I don't know if you know this, but if you're in a Yahoo search and you start typing in Kevin Rahm, the fourth suggestion is Kevin Rahm shirtless.
Interesting.
What's all the fuss about?
Yeah, what's up?
There's not much fuss, I can tell you that. And I'm surprised that many people have typed that in.
Steve, I don't know why Steve was searching for.
Maybe it was just my computer.
The question is, I guess Steve often types shirtless after people's names.
Yeah, no, he does.
That's what he's looking for.
He's starting a new website.
So when you clicked on it, Steve, what happened?
What? Are you still there? I think I'm going through a tunnel.
The only thing I can think of is there's an episode of Mad Men where Elizabeth Moss and I were in post-coital in the bed together, but it wasn't like I was doing push-ups in the bed. I was just kind of laying there with the shirt off. But I honestly can't think of many times. My joke has always been, I'm not the guy they're going to ask to take his shirt off.
Sweet.
That's just not. I don't play those roles.
I don't think I roll that way either.
I'm also hairless. I'm like a hairless cat. So like it's not,
Gross.
Yeah.
Steve has an all year round sweater.
Yeah, I wear a sweater.
It's more like a onesie, like that. That big.
Which is lovely in San Antonio.
Yeah. If I take off my shirt, people ask why I'm wearing a Cosby sweater. So.
Oh wow! So you braid part of it, or is it colored?
Yeah, it's colored.
You've dyed some of the
hair.
Yeah,
well, no, he puts. I think he wears that like that. Well, it's like one of those shirts that have like a netted shirt, and he puts like sun in. He puts sun in.
Oh yeah, sun in, and then there's gray parts.
And then there's gray. So it's
sun in. Oh,
sun in. What a blast from the past, right?
Right.
Sun in.
I'm gonna go lay out with my Crisco.
Hell yeah. Hey, I had a couple questions. Well, we have some questions from the internet for you.
Okay.
Well, you might not know any of these people, but at Sean Fabulous wants to know why Ted was so mean to Peggy.
Okay. Well, Sean Fabulous. Is he asking me why that's true? Because that's a question for the writers.
Well, the writers aren't here, so let's just say that she deserved it.
I would, in all seriousness, he was mean to her because he had to be to get out of the situation. He had to be mean to her to break up. It was not going to work otherwise because he loved her. I think that's my take on it. Is that that's the way we were playing the scene. Is that he loved her so much that the only way out was to be mean.
It's not me, it's you. Like that?
Even more so. You're lucky that I made this decision. I mean, I think it was harsher than it's not me, it's you. It's not me, it's you is, oh yeah, you're switching it around. Yeah, it's not me, it's you.
Yeah, right.
Wow. That took me a second. That's my dog barking in the background.
It's okay. I have kids in the background, so.
Yeah, well, my wife took my daughter. I'm going to yell at my dog. Okay. Gabby, get down. She loves to sit in the front window and bark at everything that walks by. Yeah, I think he had to be. I think he was in love with her. At least he thought he was in love with her at the time, and I think it was not one of those. I think I got to go back to my wife conversations. I think he had to go after her to get rid of her, for himself and for her. I think he thinks he was doing her a favor, honestly. That he was doing a noble thing, and it came across really harsh. I remember when we were shooting that scene where I'm in her office. She'd taken over that weird office with a pole in the middle that Pete had for a while when they expanded their space. And I go in there and I say to her, I'm going to California and I'm going to be with my wife and I said to her, you're going to be happy one day, or you're going to be grateful one day that I made this decision. And her response was, well, aren't you lucky that you get to make a decision? When we were shooting that scene, on her coverage, like, I felt bad. Me, Kevin, felt bad. I was like, holy shit, she... And I kept saying, in between takes, I was like, are you okay? I'm so sorry. Because she was just so... And even on my coverage, she would do it. She was an amazing scene partner, Lizzie. And just made me hurt for her. And I didn't want to do it.
But you did. Well, thank you, Sean Fabulous, for that question.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
We'll sprinkle those questions in throughout. But right now, okay. Can you tell us how you are, I guess, connected to the Beverly Hillbillies' Granny Clampett?
So Granny Clampett's name was Irene. Oh shoot! What's her real name? Her real name is. What's her real name? Her real name is.
What is it, Steve?
You should never, ever, ever forget this.
I know. It just left my head. Hold on. I remembered Flurry. Irene Ryan. Jeez Louise. Irene Ryan is back. Irene Ryan, the actress who played Granny Clampett, started this scholarship called the Irene Ryan, Scholarship, and it's part of the American College Theater Festival, which is nationwide college theater festival, and they do this acting award every year, where you go to you do a play in your college, and they get adjudicated, and individuals get nominated, and then you perform at regionals. And they pick 2 people from each of the 8 regions, and those 16 people and their partners go to DC for the national competition, and they have 2 winners every year of the Irene Ryan Scholarship. And it's people have described it as the Heisman of college acting. I think that's a little much of a stretch for me, but they pick 2 winners every year, and I won it in 1994.
If I had won that, I would have said I won the Heisman of, of acting.
I have said that before. I tend to not say it as much anymore, because then you have to explain who Irene Ryan is. And when you call it the Granny Clampett Acting Award, it sounds a little less prestigious.
That sounds awesome.
But she is on a pretty, a legend of a show.
And she did other things long before that.
She was and the irony is she was one of those huge Broadway stars that got this job and then became known as that, where she was a multiple Tony winner and was this amazing stage actress. But the funny part of that story is that, so my freshman year, I was someone's scene partner, and we went to regional semifinals or final, and she didn't move on. And I remember thinking my freshman year of college, it's like, I can do this. I can do this. So my goal is to win this thing nationally. And my sophomore year, or maybe it's my sophomore or junior year, I think it was my sophomore year, I did. And one of the judges at nationals was a casting director for a soap opera. And after I won, I thought, okay, well, this is it. Now people are going to call me and they're going to be like, okay, come be on our TV show. And I had, my ego was inflated, and after the awards ceremony and all that stuff, I walk up to one of the judges and I'm like, thank you so much. And I'm like, so what do I do? Do I just go to LA now, or, how does this work? And
where's my contract?
assuming they're like, oh yeah, you got to go to LA right now. Here's 3 agents that I'm sure will sign you tomorrow. This woman was like, yeah, you should finish school.
Well, yeah, I mean,
you should not go to LA. And I was like, but I just won.
I'm a Heisman winner.
I just won acting.
I think I might have done the Heisman pose. And she was like, oh, no, this, and pretty much she said, this doesn't mean anything. Like this, that's what I felt. And I don't know the word she actually said, but what I heard was, this means nothing. And you should, and so when I stayed in school for another year, maybe a year and a half, and I finally quit and moved to LA. And when I was trying to get an agent, I had one casting director. I knew one casting director in LA, a separate, different one, who would cast me on a TV show out of Utah. And he sent me a list of like 10 agencies and specific agents at each agency to submit to. And I went and spent, probably $50, which was probably half my net income, at a Kinko's, printing up all this stuff about the Irene Ryan Scholarship, and I was stuff in the Salt Lake Tribune, and just all this information about it, and like it's a 20-page packet that I made for 10 different agencies, and I think three of the agencies called. Some assistant called me and said, "Please come pick this up. I feel bad about throwing it away." And
someone else might want to read it.
half of them didn't even respond to me, and 2 of them set up meetings with me. And one of them in the meeting, I said, "So, what did you think of the packet?" Just for my own edification later on, and they're like, "What packet?" And I'm like, "The packet that I sent that got me here." And they're like, "No, we just saw David Giela's name on the envelope. That's why you're here." Like, it was only his name. It had nothing to do with all the money I'd wasted on these color photos of me winning the Granny Clampett Acting Award.
Yeah, I was going to say, did all of your headshots, were they just you holding the award next to your face?
Doing the pose. Yes. You would have been doing the pose.
It's funny so my scene partner was one of my best friends in college. His name's Todd Parmley, and he lives in New York now. And at one point, right before I quit school, I a friend of mine's parents had moved, and a bunch of us lived in his parents' house to pay rent, and while they were out of town for like a year or something like that. And a lot of my stuff was in the garage in boxes, and it was cold in the winter in Utah. And this award has this like lady, it looks like with wings, and she's holding her hands up in the air, holding this torch. And one of my friend's brothers or sisters, there were like 8 or 9 of them. One of them grabbed it by the top where the little torch thing is, and it just snapped right off. The hands just snapped right off because it was freezing cold in the garage. And they felt horrible, and they were like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm like, what? It's a piece of plastic. It's no big deal." And so the best part is I took those hands and I went to
stuck it on a potato.
I went to a trophy place and had them make the same type of base that mine was, and had them mount these hands on a trophy, and gave it to my scene partner and called them the Hands of Ryan Award.
That's hilarious.
Right? And so I have the trophy still somewhere, I don't know where it is, with the hands cut off. They got snapped off. He has the hands on another trophy. Because honestly, to do this thing, you do a scene and a monologue. And so
it's like you're sharing, so that's cool.
Yeah, but there's no way I would have won that thing without him as my scene partner, was my point. Because he didn't get any real recognition from it.
Well, good. I mean, that's a good thing for you. I mean, that's nice, right? I mean, that's nice for.
Yeah, but I waited. Look, I didn't break them off myself. I
Here,
I didn't King Solomon the trophy and hand him half.
Right now, I'm just picturing all these different poses. There's a cowboy holding this trophy. I'm the fireman holding this trophy.
Or we could go opposite. It's just like Zoolander, but with like different shirts on. Like the same exact pose, just different colors.
I'm a teacher holding this apple and this trophy. That's awesome. This is going to sound like an odd question to everybody else, but hopefully it won't sound odd to you.
It probably will.
Okay.
Can you tell me about moose cock?
I can. It's delicious. I don't know if you ever had it. Braised is my favorite.
I've had moose drool.
Milk braised is my favorite. So there's an old joke. You've probably heard the joke. And one version it's the queen. One version it's some ecclesiastical leader. But the joke is, I'm gonna think of a word, and you ask me questions, and then you have to guess the word. And the first person says, "Okay, I'll do it." And the second person says, "Go." The first person says, "Is it something I can eat?" And the second person says, "I guess you could." And the first person goes, "Is it moose cock?" So that's
what was it? Is it something you could toot?
Eat.
Oh, eat.
Something you could eat. So it's an old joke. And a friend of mine from LA, and got into this competition in Arizona, or was it New Mexico? Maybe New Mexico. And it was this thing where you go there, and it's this film competition where you go there, you submit a script, and then they give you the seed money, and then it's like you have like 2 or 3 days, or like I can't remember. It was a really small period of time where you go shoot this short film, and then you have a couple more days to edit it, and then you turn it in, and someone wins. It's like this fast pace. It's like a 24-hour play thing, but for filmmaking. And so he wrote the script about that, based on that. It was me and shoot. And we went and shot that in. Hold on. Pause. This is going to drive me crazy.
Riodosa.
What is it?
Riodosa?
Is that where it was?
Sure.
But the funniest part of that whole story. So we shot it. It was me and Brian Baumgartner.
Really? From The Office?
Did you watch? Yeah, exactly, from The Office.
And also from Hand of God.
Brian and I were the two people in it, and the thing, and it takes place shot like really pretty, like beautiful movie of us in this diner, and we're playing that. We start playing that game. We do that joke ultimately, and then it's all this cutaways of moosecock craze and all this. It's quite funny actually. But the best was Brian. I had just finished some job, and Brian had just done the pilot for The Office, and I was a huge fan of the original BBC Office, the British version, and a huge fan, and thought Ricky Gervais was genius.
He is.
And then I heard they were making an American version of it, and I thought that is the worst idea I have ever heard. That will be terrible. There's no way that can be good. Which this is just a hint to me choosing projects. I'm not always the best judge of what will do well. And I remember saying, "So Brian, what are you doing right now, man?" And because we didn't know each other, we met on the set. He goes, "Oh, I just did this pilot." I'm like, "Oh, congratulations! What is it?" He goes, "Oh, it's for The Office." And I went, "Oh, good luck."
So
condescending, and just knowing there's no way that's going to do well. Cut to 10 years later, and Brian's summer home in the Hamptons.
Well, I think that was the best thing that ever happened to Ricky Gervais, because he didn't make anything really from the original Office.
Oh yeah. He made a shit ton of money, I'm sure, because having ownership of.
He made all of the money.
Yeah. Because I'm sure he didn't want them to do it either. And I'm sure they had to keep.
Yeah, I'm sure they had to back the truck up. The Brinks truck.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah. Are you still friends with Brian?
We're not. I don't see him. We still keep in touch. We text once a year. When are we playing golf? Because he got really into golf, and then so did I. And I see him every once in a while at charity golf events. And I keep bugging him to come play with me.
Hey, let me ask you a question, Kevin. So,
okay.
You're at Augusta, okay?
Okay.
You're on a par 3.
Okay.
Your first shot that you hit, it goes into the water. You're like, fuck. Okay, you tee up for the second one.
Mm-hmm.
Your second shot takes a dip. Your third shot, you're like, you know what, whatever, I'm going to do it. It takes one shot and you hit a hole in one. Now, do you call it, you have a 5, you did a double bogey? Or do you say, I shot a hole in one and go back to the clubhouse and say, where's my plaque?
I hit a bogey. Double bogey.
What? Me too, I mean.
It's a third ball double bogey is what it is.
I guess they don't give plaques for that.
No, there's no plaque for that.
There's no
plaque for that.
So
First of all, if I was at Augusta and I hit it into the water, depending on which hole it was, I would take a drop somewhere. I wouldn't hit that shot again.
Yeah, right, because that's a difficult-ass course to begin with.
Right. And no, but I've yet to have a hole in one. I've gotten close a couple times, but I don't have any hole in one.
And that's the beauty of it. And you're at Augusta, one of the most difficult. That's where the Masters are held every year.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you would.
That would not. And I first of all, what I love about golf is the only sport where you're your own referee. You're ideally you're policing yourself, and so. I would feel so. I could never do that. I would be I would know at some point at all times that I was lying, and that would drive me crazy.
Okay, that's a.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'll lie about other shit, but not about golf.
You know what, Ricky? Just do this. Look, I hit a hole in one, but.
Yeah, right.
I had a hole in one. It was the third time I swung on that.
But still, that's.
You could phrase it in a way where I was playing at Augusta and I hit a tee shot that went in.
You could do that too, and they'll be like, "Shit, did you do a hole in one?"
That's true, because that's technically true.
A hole in one.
Well, they don't have to know that it was your third tee shot,
right? And if they ask you about it, just go, "Check, please," or just head somewhere else.
Or that after the second shot, your driver went into the water too.
Very true.
A friend of mine plays a lot of charity golf. Maybe you know him. Have you ever played with Clint Howard?
I know Clint. I've met Clint Howard. Yeah.
Oh, cool. He's great.
Steve just wanted a name drop.
I just wanted a name drop.
Does he live there?
No, he lives in Burbank.
Okay.
He's just a really cool dude. That he's a super nice guy. Let's see here. Since we were still talking about golf, what's it called?
Can you just say the word instead of stuttering?
No, golfing. Hey,
golfing.
Yeah. So the next time you just happen to swing through San Antonio, do you want to play golf with us? Great.
Absolutely.
I'll set up a tee time.
Good.
Thanks.
Good. We'll do it.
No, actually,
we'll take Ricardo out too.
Oh, that'd be great.
Let's do it because you know what? Like, we're not the greatest golfers, but fuck, we have a lot of fun.
By the way, I'm telling you, I would rather play with guys who are fun, who are not decent, than guys who are really good and douchebags.
Right, exactly. And then like
every time,
like
every time.
Steve and I have played at some awesome golf course up in Dallas. We played at a nice one here in San Antonio. A so-so one around where we live. And every single time, like, I just remember those times every single time just because
it's so much fun.
We have a blast. I mean, we drink beers, of course, but we're just constantly talking shit about, like, I mean, there's no competition, obviously, because I'm way better. No.
I just got a glimpse into the 4 hours with you
guys. 4?
Yeah, no, it's 6. I'm just kidding.
Kidding.
It's about 4 hours. But yeah, we have a blast. So next time you're in town, we gotta do it. We gotta do it. Hi, it's me, Alex, host of the Finding STAX podcast. I just wanted to take a moment in the middle of this wonderful episode and say thank you for tuning in. I know it's old school, right? But it's true. There are literally thousands of podcasts out there, and you could be listening to any one of them at this moment, but you aren't. You chose this one. And I'm truly grateful, so thank you. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And if you enjoy what's being played in your ears this far, why keep it to yourself? You gotta spread the word! If you have a few seconds, please take a moment to rate the show and write a little whimsical review about it. Or you know what, maybe you hate the show. But just know I don't hate you. I love you. I love you very, 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 very much. But you don't have to take my word for it. Yes, another old school phrase.
Hey there, Randy Jason Sklar here, and you are listening to us on the podcast Finding STAX. Hey, this is Bill Watterson, and you're listening to Finding STAX. And if you're us, then what the hell's wrong with you? And how the fuck did you get this fucking message?
Be sure to follow the show on Twitter and Instagram under the name @FindingSTAX. Or if you really want to get saucy, email me any sorts of complaints, concerns, praises, rants, what have yous, to findingstacks@gmail.com. And for additional content, you can visit www.findingstacks.com. From me, Steve, Dave, Alexa, and Suri, and everyone here at Finding STAX Studios, thank you. Now go on, enjoy the show.
Let's go back to Twitter. I asked your friend Johnny Hams. Yeah, I asked him if he had any questions for you, and it was somewhat cryptic. This is going to sound weird, but he asked me to ask you, what is the weirdest place you've ever pooped?
The weirdest place I ever pooped. When did you ask John this?
It was about 3 weeks ago.
Well, it's okay. So I was playing golf. It's okay. See, I know you.
Hold on, before you embarrass yourself or incriminate yourself, he said it had something to do with a date.
Oh yeah. I know exactly what he's talking about. See, there's two different stories that I've told John. The one you're talking about, I told on the set of Mad Men. On the set of Mad Men, we would do the work as fast as possible so we could go back to base camp to play games. That's pretty much, we spent most of our time at base camp around this table. All of us were still smokers at the time, and we'd smoke a lot of cigarettes and play cribbage and dominoes. So and this is pretty early on in my tenure at Mad Men. I told them the story, and the short version is, I was single at the time, and there was this girl who I liked, and we had misconnected like 3 times. Like we had set up to get together and it didn't work out, and it had been both of our faults. And this was like the third or fourth time, and it was like this was it. Like if it didn't happen, if we weren't going to get together that night and have dinner, it wasn't going to happen, right? And I was not feeling well at all. My bowels wanted me to cancel that date, and I thought, no, I got to do this. And I go to her place to pick her up, and I'm like gassy the whole way there.
Man.
Thinking like, do I stop at a Starbucks on the way? But I'm like, no, I'm going to be good. And I get to
get a coffee.
I had a what?
To get a coffee.
No, to go to the
Yeah. To use their lovely restroom. If there was a Dairy Queen nearby, I would just not.
Sir, why are you walking into the kitchen? No reason.
Nothing. Just I'm going to go behind the fryer. Just give me a second. Who wants a flurry?
That was good.
She had this tiny little apartment. It was like the studio apartment, and you know the bathroom was right there. She let me in, and she's like, "I gotta finish getting ready. I'm gonna go into the bathroom." I'm like, "Okay," and I'm like, "She's in the one bathroom, and there's no other bathroom," and I'm sitting there, and it's really starting to hurt at this point. And I go out on her little patio just to fart, just to like relieve some of the tension. I'm worried the whole time I'm gonna poop myself, but I looked, and there's a cat box out there. She's a cat, a litter box, and I'm about to die, and so I'm like looking, and it's like one of those weird bathrooms where like there's an opening at the top, like it's just like think like Brady Bunch with like weird sloped ceilings, and like there's like a triangle at the top that it's not really glass, it's like open. So like I can hear the hairdryer, and I'm thinking, okay, so that's going to save me. She's not going to hear me. So I drop a deuce in this kitty litter box.
And the cat's just like, hey, what the fuck?
And the cat's just glaring at me like, you're a dick. And then I come back in, and I sit down on the couch, and I feel I'm like so relieved that it worked and that it happened, and I'm not gonna blow her out of the car, and I'd like this date can happen. And so she comes out, and she's like, okay, so I'm ready to go. So sorry it took me so long, and real quick before we go, I got to clean my kitty litter box. I was like, no, don't worry about it. She goes, no, I got to do it.
I'll do it.
And she lifts it up, and she's like, oh my God.
There's something wrong with my cat.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Wait. So I have a question. I was raising my hand, but you can't see me, obviously. Did you say you just dropped the doozer in there, but like, did you wipe? I mean,
let's not get into that.
The thing is, this is a friend of mine's story that I've stolen.
Okay.
And the reason John told you to ask me that is because there's like a 20-minute version of that story that I told them that night, and then it was like a couple weeks later they found out that it wasn't my story, that I didn't do it. Like I told it as if it's my own story, so
you augusted them.
Yeah, and so he's still pissed to this day that he had to listen to that story for 20 minutes, and B, that it wasn't actually mine. I had them all going.
I think that makes it better.
And of course, those kind of questions like, did you wipe? I'm like, no, like I thought it was going to be runny, but it was solid, and it just came along. Hey, look, there's an answer for all the questions. This can go on.
You practiced. Time. You did some practice.
But ironically, it's my buddy Britt Johnson's story, and I've stole that story. I've heard him tell it so many times that I can tell it in the first person now. And I thought this will be a good way to get to know these people.
Cool. Well, I'm going to start a screenplay soon, and can I use that?
Please, cheers.
He's like, sure, it's not mine.
Cheers. Just make the character's name Britt.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
It'll be Cletus or Britt, one of those two.
That's fantastic.
I know a Cletus as well.
So do I.
Fuck off. That's all. Hey, so I saw you in a. I mean, I know you've done a few movies. Nightcrawler was amazing.
Thank you.
But most recently, I saw you in. I guess it was a Netflix original called Clinical.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that girl is so beautiful. That's the girl from Ladybugs, right?
Yeah, Vanessa Shaw.
Yes.
Yeah, she's great. Vanessa's great. I loved working with her.
That movie was amazing.
Oh, thank you.
I mean,
that was one of those you never know what's going to happen. You know, I loved the script, and Alistair, who was the director, loved him when I met him, and I thought it was a little. What made me want to do it was I was one of like Nightcrawler. I read that script and went, "What the fuck?" And then went back and read it immediately again, just trying to wrap my head around what had happened, and it scared me. Like that movie, doing that movie, the idea of doing that part and doing that movie scared me, and I thought I got to do it. I got to do that because it was no money. I mean, it was like it was a really low budget Netflix original movie, and the hardest part was it was 2.5 to 3 hours a day to put on the makeup and an hour to take it off.
Wow.
So it's 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours a day sitting in a chair just before you even go to work. But it was so much fun, and I was thinking. I'm glad you liked it. I loved the process, and then even was really. I loved the final product as well.
I watched it with my son. It was amazing. It was I was so surprised because there's kind of a twist at the end that I really didn't see coming. And hats
That's
off.
why I reread the script right away. I was like, "What the hell?"
Hats off, man.
That's why you had to reread it.
Well done. That was a really good performance too.
It was fun. Thank you. I appreciate that. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Everybody who has Netflix should definitely check that out.
Definitely.
It's really awesome.
Yeah, I reckon it's a good movie. It's a good movie, and Alistair is great, and Vanessa's amazing too. And India, who plays the young girl in the movie, is great too. Her mom is the original. She was Juliet in the Zeffirelli Romeo and Juliet.
Really?
Yeah, that's her mom.
Wow.
Claire Danes?
And she's an amazing actress in her own right, but I just think it's kind of cool history.
That is a very cool history. Let's take another question from Twitter. Like I said, I don't know if you know who any of these people are. At Nathan Fillion wants to know. He wants to know how often did Christina Hendricks talk about Firefly on the set of Mad Men?
Is that really the Nathan Fillion?
Yes.
That's amazing. He doesn't follow me. I'm glad that he talks to you on Twitter.
He is.
By the way, I love him. We worked together for a little while on Housewives, Desperate Housewives.
Right.
And the irony is, no one can talk about Firefly as much as him because that's all he ever talked about on the set of Desperate Housewives. I'm kidding.
That's how Steve is.
I've heard that he actually has it going like on repeat. Like when he has a party at his house, it's on TV on repeat. Like
if you walk into his trailer, it's in there too.
Me too.
I love Nathan. We did a big Halloween episode where he dressed up like Dracula. Frankenstein. He was Frankenstein, and I was a pirate, but I looked more like Salvador Dali.
Hey, Salvador Dali is fucking cool,
right? But I have really big eyes, and I had eye makeup on, and I was I was some kind of pirate, I think. And then
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like a very flamboyant one.
A baby was born. That's all Christina talked about. If I had been on that show, that's all I would talk about. We get it, Nathan. You were on Firefly.
Take that, Nathan.
Yeah,
take that.
That's
take that in your 12 years of your show.
Oh yeah, and on that show on Castle, I think it was season 2 or 3. It was the Halloween episode. He dressed up as his character from Firefly.
Oh, was that the main character from there?
Of course he did.
Oh, okay.
Of course he did.
Oh, what a jerk! He's like, "Hey, I'm me," but from a different show. Hey, Kevin, you should do that for Desperate Housewives, or just slick your hair back for Mad Men.
I did this in between like my second and third seasons of Mad Men. I was on this because my first 2 seasons of Mad Men, I was a guest. Like I would come in and do like 2 or 3 episodes, and they, I had no contract with them, and they, in the meantime, I went and did the sitcom that we did. I think we did a full season. I think we did 18 episodes, but it was a sitcom for Fox, but it was shot at Warner Brothers. It was called "I Hate My Teenage Daughter."
I think that was a full season.
That was one season,
I think we
right?
did a full season, but it was a great cast, and you just kind of didn't quite figure out what the show was. And I think it was one of those shows that had it have gone on, it would have gotten a lot better. But they were still trying to figure out what it was at the time.
That's like a Netflix show.
But they shot an episode where we did a 50s party, and so I dressed up practically like Ted Shaw, like on the show. Like I'm in a skinny tie and hair slicked back, and I mean it wasn't quite. I didn't have a business card on me. It wasn't one of those things where I looked like Nathan from the show.
That's awesome.
What are you working on anything now? Currently?
I just did kind of a cameo thing, and they're doing this mini-series about the Unabomber called Manifesto.
Is that a series or a TV show?
It's a mini-series, so it's like an 8-part mini-series.
Who's doing it?
A limited run thing. I think I can't remember the network, but it was.
Who signed the check?
I have no idea. I have no idea who signed the check.
You just cash it.
It's just some production company. But I did that, and then I did a couple episodes of Madam Secretary.
Oh, cool.
Just the Taya Leone show. I did 2 of those at the end of the season. I think one more airs, and then we go back to work on Lethal Weapon in June. In about
right?
3 or 4 weeks.
And then that'll be the new season's out in September.
Yeah, I have September issues. I'm sure. I don't know. I don't have a date yet, but I'm guessing around then.
Fans of the show will know that on several occasions I have said that Lethal Weapon is my favorite show currently on TV, and it is.
Wow.
It is truly appointment television.
Wow, thank you.
It has all of the excitement and drama and comedy of the movies, but you get like 18 or 19 of them. It's fantastic.
And I thank you. I appreciate that. And that was one of those things I guess a year and a half ago now, pilot season, and I'm in LA trying to get a job, and they sent me that script, and I opened up my email, and it says Lethal Weapon, and my first response was, "Are you kidding me? Really?"
See, that's what everybody thinks. I mean, that's what I thought.
Right?
Beverly Hills Cop had just bombed or something.
No, it was.
It was about to. Was it Beverly Hills Cop?
No, it was.
They did that.
Rush Hour.
Well, yes, Rush Hour.
Yeah, but they also tried a Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, and it came. I think it was on for 2 episodes. I think.
Oh wow!
Was it really?
It's look. First of all, it's hard. It's something that iconic.
Right.
It's really hard to do it. A, do it justice, and then B, different enough from the original. But also, it's such a fine line you have to walk. You have to be different from the original, but close enough to the original, and you have to. But I think a lot of it comes down to love of the material and casting. And Matt Miller loves the original movies, absolutely loves them. And they found Klain and Damon to play Murtaugh and Riggs. And without those 3 pieces, you have no show.
Have the originals, like Glover and the other guy?
Gibson.
Have they come in to chat it up with you guys or see like a scene or anything like that?
Or given a blessing?
Not that I'm aware. They have not been there while I was there. I know there was talk of, hopefully making Glover some character or something like that.
That'd be awesome.
That'll be season 3. You listening, Matt Miller? I'm talking to you. Season 3.
It'd be great if you could play Murtaugh's dad.
That's what I'm saying. That'd be awesome. That'd be perfect.
Right?
Well, because that's about the same age, right? Like,
yeah,
as the son.
Yeah, basically.
That'd be hilarious.
Now, I find it hard to believe that Murtaugh in your show is ever gonna say the words "I'm getting too old for this shit," because Tammy Wayans looks like he's 27 years old.
I know, isn't it amazing? he looks the same as when he was on Living Color.
He really does.
He looks so good. What did he say? Someone starts to say it.
What, then he cuts him off or something?
And they're stopped. Like there was an homage to that early on, and I'm confusing it now in my head. I can't remember who said it. I think Damon goes to say I'm too old for that, and someone stops him. Like, so there was an homage to that, no one ever fully said it.
Well, I like the way the writers sort of wrote around how young he looks by starting the show with he's recovering from having a massive heart attack.
Right. That's the only.
So they got to make him older.
So now we gotta pretend he's older and then take it easy on him
because he looks 32.
Well, because he's not. I mean, look, he's older than I am.
Sure.
His son is closer to our age.
Yeah.
His son on the show?
Junior.
Yeah, Damon Wayans Jr.
Damon Wayans.
His son on the show is like 17 or 19.
Yeah,
or
I've seen him on the NFL.
I've
seen him on the NFL Network.
Yeah,
that guy.
Yeah,
he's cool.
Yeah, that show is amazing. I've been trying.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. Look, it's one of those things. When I read the script, when I got the audition, I was like, there's no way. No, I'm not doing that. And then I read the script and I thought, oh, wow, that's really good. If you take the name off of it, if you take Lethal Weapon out,
hey, call it something else and I'll do it.
Well, call it something else and it just worked. It's a good script. And then I thought, okay, well, if they can cast, because Damon was already attached to it, and sure. I thought that was genius. And then my whole thought was if they can find a guy to play Riggs who's not going to try to be
Riggs,
the original Riggs, who's going to do his version of it, and he's good at it.
He does his
own
version.
They found that in Klain.
I like that he's from Texas.
Oh, I love it.
That's really cool.
Aren't you? Are you from Texas?
Klain is from Alabama originally, and he lives there. Like, he has a farm in Alabama and lives on a farm.
Hey, Kevin, where were you born?
I was born in Texas.
That's right.
Born in Texas, son.
So are we. Welcome to the club. You are
welcome.
in.
It's a small club. But,
no, it is not.
Born in Texas, raised in Louisiana, and then I finished high school in that small town of Atlanta, Texas.
And you said
where the famous Dairy Queen is.
And you said Shreveport is where you were.
That's where I spent most of my childhood. Shreveport and Bossier.
They have some very good crawfish etouffee.
They have a very good everything there.
They did not when I was growing up there.
What?
When I was growing up there, it was practically East Texas.
Really?
Like, it was.
Well, I mean, it's only an hour from the border.
That sucks.
Yeah, less than that.
Yeah, probably less than that.
It's 2.5 hours from Dallas.
Yeah, it's not far.
Yeah, it's right up there in the corner, and
by Texarkana.
Yeah, you're part of the Arklatex.
Right. Is
the way they like to call it. The Louisiana culture had not moved that far north. It kind of stopped around Alexandria. So like etouffee and gumbo and Mardi Gras parades and all that stuff, there was none of that in Shreveport when I was growing up. And then they got the boats, the riverboat casinos.
Yeah, I was there probably like 7 years ago. I think 7-8 years ago I was working out there for like 3 months or something. Yeah, it's a ton of gambling, ton of food. It's awesome. I liked it.
Ton of drink.
Yeah, very much.
And then the most dangerous part about Shreveport is because of the riverboats, they passed this rule or law or whatever that says that the downtown bars are allowed to stay open until 6 a.m. to compete with the casinos.
Jesus.
Holy shit.
So, yeah, it's dangerous.
Well, aren't you glad you moved out of there by the time all the the vampires got there?
For more reasons than you can imagine. Yes, yeah, I'd love to visit, but that is, I was ready to go. I was ready to go do something. There weren't any. Now there's some film there, and there's they have this amazing thing now called the Louisiana Film Prize, where as long as you shoot the short in Louisiana, you can submit to win $50,000 for this Louisiana Short Film Prize. And they have a festival. I was one of the judges 2 years ago. I couldn't be there last year because of Lethal's schedule, and I'm hoping to be there this year. But it's amazing. I mean, it's the largest short film prize in the world. At least it was as of a year ago.
Wow.
So that, after Katrina, a lot of film production moved north, and a lot of it came to Shreveport. And so you could actually kind of start a career there. You could get some work and get on camera, and
I mean, there's some nice there's a lot of good shots that you can take there. The tree.
Oh yeah, and it can look like a lot of different places. They shot Salem there the last.
Yeah, exactly. That's what
years.
I was going to say. It can look like Washington. It can look like
yeah. There's a great movie. There's a great Kevin Costner movie, and I'm going to forget the name of it right now. Not Mr. Banks.
No.
Tin Cup.
Yes, that's the best Kevin Costner movie.
Right.
What is the name of that? It was one of those movies they shot in Shreveport, and I didn't know anything about it. It kind of came and went from the theaters, but it was one of those things where they actually used Shreveport a lot, and you could see.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. I'm not doubting that. Just there's not a lot of. Well, I guess from where I was at, I was kind of in the.
Yeah, where were you?
I was in the more west part of Shreveport, so I was I was in the oil, natural gas and oil industry.
Wow!
So I would have to go through all those backwoods and all those little parishes, and man,
were you what was your job?
I was called a mud logger. So what I would do is that I would hang out in a little shack, a trailer shack, with this guy that was about 25 years old, but he looked like 68 years old.
Uh-huh.
He smoked nonstop with the windows up inside of our trailer, and so I would ask him randomly, "Hey, do you mind if you could just take a break?" He's like, "Nah, man, it's cold outside." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, so I don't want to go outside." It was literally snowing there in February. It was the craziest thing. But yeah, I would have to go up onto the deck and shovel out a bunch of rocks and mud and digging around the rocks to see if there's any kind of gas and test them and all that. All the boring, all the boring stuff, but it's extremely fucking dangerous. I didn't know that until after I got back home.
By the way, that could have exploded at any minute.
It literally could have exploded because there was if they get too much oil or too much gas coming through one of the pipes, they have to let out a little bit of steam, and they have to set that steam on fire. And so you'll see to the right of on the other side of the rig, you'll see a huge man-made lake, and then a fire. Have you seen Mad Max, the new one?
Yeah.
Fury Road. You know how they're shooting those fires all crazy style. That's literally what it looked like. They were doing that probably 20 times, 30 times a day, just shooting fire like that.
That's safe.
Exactly, very safe. So,
and I'm sure your pay reflected that.
I think I was getting paid $12 an hour to be away from my 6-month-old daughter.
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right.
Yeah,
that sounds fair.
It lasted for about 3 months at the most. So, and I also had to sleep there, so that was pretty fun.
In the trailer with the guy smoking?
After a while, we had to do 12-hour shifts, 12 on, 12 off. And so after I was done, I would be coughing up a lung. I picked up smoking, which is weird.
Shocking.
And so I would just go back to the hotel, do some homework, talk to my wife, and then go back to sleep for 4 hours and then head back out. It was the weirdest fucking time of my life, obviously. I mean... That
sounds almost as bad as having to work at a Dairy Queen.
But you did that for 3 hours. I did it for
neck
3
and
months.
neck. Those two stories are neck and neck.
Time, it's look, I did it, man.
But around that same time is when the HBO show was out with all the vampires. What was it called, Steve?
Bon Temps.
Yeah, it was Bon Temps.
Yeah, they shot some of that in Shreveport too.
I don't remember.
What was it?
True Blood.
Sookie.
Yeah, Sookie.
Sookie Stackhouse.
Yeah.
True Blood.
And then I was, and I was that show was on its first season, maybe I think it's second season. I think it was probably moving to the second
The
season.
theme song was better than.
But anyway, it really was, and the whole credits at the beginning. But yeah, that
awesome.
I started watching it while I was there in that trailer, and so sometimes when I would get there, I was in the middle of the woods.
You're in a nicotine haze. And
yes.
Watching Sookie Sookhouse get to true death.
Yes. Yeah. So I was scared out of my fucking mind.
True Blood was the name of the show.
Yeah, True Blood. Yes.
Yeah, that's yeah. Oof. I don't envy that, dude.
That's rough. Speaking of Louisiana, we did have a filmmaker. I think she was part of that whole Louisiana film project thing. She was on here. Her name is Sydney Harris, and she's doing a show called a movie called
Please Be
Love. And I think she's working on that right now. So everybody keep your ears and eyes out for that. So that ought to be pretty cool.
I will look for it.
Do you have one last question that you got from Twitter world?
Well, this was actually a direct message. It wasn't just Twitter. This was a direct message. This is from Kevin Pollak. He said that even though he did watch the episode of his show that you did, since he wasn't there, you have to come back when he is there because he wants to hang out with you.
By the way, the only reason he wants me back is because he wants his money back.
Poker?
That's the only reason Mr. Pollak is... by the way, I'm such a huge... I'll never tell this to him to his face because his ego's big enough as it is. But I'm such a huge fan of Kevin Pollak.
The guy's amazing.
He's so... Oh, dude. He's just so good. And he's a good guy. We met... We the last couple of years... He's been doing it longer, I think. For the last couple of years, I've done this charity thing in
Kansas
St.
City.
Louis.
Oh.
Kansas City. I always want to say St. Louis because that's where Ham's from.
Kansas City.
But Kansas City, where it's the Children's Hospital there, and they're doing it again this year. But it's this bowling tournament and you play softball. And the first year I did it, we're all up till I think my flight was at 7 a.m. I left the poker table at 6:15. Like, I left at the last possible second to get in the car to go to the airport. And I took all of his money playing poker.
All of it. Well done.
So what was the hand? What was the last hand? Do you remember that?
Yeah. What was it? What was your winning hand? Your last one?
I had a bunch. I joke about it. They're real poker players.
Real poker players.
Oh yeah.
You should have said, I don't know. I don't remember.
I got a lot of good hands that night. I was flopped full houses, and I think I had 4 of a kind at one point that night.
So who was your friend that was dealing?
No, they had a professional dealer.
Yeah, but, Kevin doesn't fuck around with poker.
He got tipped very well.
Kevin doesn't mess around with poker. I think in his regular weekly games, I think Hank Azaria is one of his weekly guys.
Oh, cool.
He's got a serious poker game going on. That dude's
got a habit. They're real players. Like, I play at poker, and I have good days, but I had a really good night. I had a really good run that night. But I would love to hang out with him more. Well,
he said to tell you that, so I did. My wife, she opens psychiatric and substance abuse hospitals all over the country.
Oh wow!
And she was opening one in Kansas City, and I flew up to go visit her, to hang out with her for it was, a week or whatever. And it was, I think it was like 4 days before the softball tournament or whatever it was. And I was so mad that I couldn't go because everybody's there.
Oh yeah, it's so much fun.
I mean, I've been hearing Kevin talk about it because I've never missed an episode of Kevin's show, but I've been hearing him talk about it for all of these years, him and Sam, and I'm just like, oh my God, I want to go so bad. But,
and Sam, they're just such great guys. Yeah, Riggle. So I worked with Rob Riggle. I don't even remember where we worked together. We met. We didn't work together. We met at a different charity golf thing in one of the Carolinas, I think South Carolina, and Rob's one of the original guys. One of the guys who started this thing,
right?
And one of the big celebrities for it. And so while we were playing golf and hanging out that week, he was like, "Okay, you got to come to my charity thing." And I was like, "If I'm free, I'd love to." And Rob's another one of those guys. He's one of those guys you just want to hang out with. That first year, I bonded with Sam, and we spent a lot of time. And Kevin, I think it was the first year that I was with Sam and Kevin playing poker. I don't think Kevin was there last year, but the Big Slick. Look up if you're in that area. It's coming up. It's in a couple of weeks. It's the weekend after Father's Day, so it's in June. I think it's usually it's the weekend of Father's Day. But Hillary Barton is the other person I met at that tournament 2 years ago, who then came to do episodes of Lethal Weapon. And her lovely husband plays Negan on Walking Dead, if you're a Walking Dead fan.
Negan.
He's such a cool guy. Such a good guy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good group. It's just a fun. It's a weekend of debauchery. And raising money for sick kids. It's like the best of both worlds.
Yeah, you get to have a blast and do good, and then sleep.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's when I first started going to charity golf tournaments, I was not interested in golf at all, really. I just did it because it was good, and now I actually love golf. And the idea that I can do that and it helps people, there's nothing, And last year they raised over they broke the $1 million mark.
Yeah, I think it was 1.2.
Yeah, and they, obviously they want to beat that this year.
That's super badass. Only a couple more things before I let you go. I appreciate you giving us all this time. I really do. One, I've been trying since probably the second episode of Lethal Weapon. I've been tweeting back and forth with the writers. I'm trying to get a bad guy played by Clint Howard named Steve Owens.
Or I can do it.
Help a brother out, Kevin.
Oh, I'll see what I can do.
Clint doesn't know anything about it, and it would blow his mind if he saw the script and it said Steve Owens. He would shit himself. Not in a litter box, but actually in his pants.
That's hilarious.
So the last thing is, your wife is a cardiothoracic surgeon, right?
Yes.
So how does a shirtless Kevin Rahm end up with that?
So a friend of mine from elementary school works for the DA's office in Shreveport, in our hometown, Shreveport, Louisiana, and his girlfriend's a pediatrician. And I was down there. This has got to be 10 years ago, longer. And I had just broken up with some actress in LA, and I'm having dinner with them, and we're a couple of margaritas in, and I say to them, totally joking, I said, "That's it. I'm done with actresses." I said, "Melissa, find me a doctor. You have to know. There have to be some attractive doctors that that I can go out with, because this is ridiculous." And about 6 months later, I was back down in hometown visiting, and actually had the summer off, so I had some time. And Melissa called me. She goes, "Okay, I found one." I was like, "Sarah, it's a terrible idea. Don't want to meet some girl in Shreveport." And I was a smoker at the time.
She's probably a vampire.
Yeah, clearly she's a vampire.
She doesn't get off work till 6 o'clock in the morning.
If her name is Suki.
Yeah, her name's Suki.
And we met. We went on. We had a blind date, and we never stopped seeing each other. And that was years ago now.
I didn't know she was blind. That's really cool.
Yeah, I know, right? And by the way, the fact that she uses the Force to do the surgeries.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's annoying. Everyone else has to hear Obi-Wan's voice in the background the whole time, and they're like, "Cut the carotid artery."
So, I mean, as much as we appreciate all the work that you do, I mean, you have to feel pretty.
Don't kiss her ass.
Oh, come on, dude.
Listen. This is what I tell her.
We made people laugh.
She can save 1, maybe 2 kids a day. Millions of people see my work.
You do the ratios.
If you just put it, just sheer volume.
Kids don't even pay taxes. How are they helping?
Right? Come on. They're not going to pay taxes. FSTAX for 15, 16 years.
What do you guys do?
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
come on.
So do you just look at her right before you go to bed and you go, ha ha, laughter's the best medicine, and you roll over?
No, I'm going to try that tonight when I need a place to stay.
And then you're gonna be living at Steve's house, like, oh,
Yeah,
she
when
fucking
I'm in
kicked
Steve's
me out.
garage next week, you'll know it didn't work.
Oh, hey Steve, we're gonna play golf sooner than you thought.
Is there? Can I park an RV? You have room for an RV?
Hey, Kevin, I've been asking this the last two people, I guess, guests that I've had. It's just curious. I'm just curious. So if you had 3 bands that you wanted to see, I don't know if you're into music or not. Well, everybody's kind of into music at one point in their life.
Yeah.
But if you had to put together a dream concert, what 3 bands or groups or artists would you put up, starting from the opening band to the middle band to the grand finale headliner?
And U2 is not on the table.
Okay. Is that because they're currently touring and they're not available?
Yes.
Yeah, right. And they could be a live or dead.
It's because Bono's running for president of Ireland.
Is he really?
No.
Oh.
That wouldn't surprise me. I would love to see the Beatles live.
Where are they in the lineup? Are they opening?
Oh, I got to figure out the other 2 before I decide where they are.
Ah.
And are
And
you
how do
going?
you not have them headline?
Right.
You should have Yoko open.
No, you want to keep the crowd. You want to keep the crowd.
Wait, is that her song?
Yeah,
That's
all
her
her
single.
song.
That's her single.
That's her album.
I like it.
Who would I don't know. Maybe nothing. I don't know. Like right now, I need like 20 minutes to figure that out.
Off the cuff, man. This is improv.
The first ones that come to my head are like, I would love to see Pearl Jam again. Huge fan of Pearl Jam. I'd love to see the Beatles. Think that the concert, their last concert they filmed, think that time, when they were on top of the building in England, and they just kind of filmed it. They did a set, and they got shut down. So toward the end of their tenure, I'd love to see them live.
Was that the Apple concert? Wasn't that on top of Apple Records?
Yeah, it was on top of Apple Records. Yeah, they just kind of set up, and people were going nuts.
And people shut them down. The cops shut them down.
Yeah, the cops shut them down toward the end. They filmed it, and it's great to watch.
Didn't U2 film the same thing for one of their videos?
Well, the streets have no name.
They did the same thing.
The streets have no
It
name.
was Rattle and Hum or something, right?
Copycats.
So then U2 would be opening.
Yeah,
U2 selling merch.
Maybe like Chris Stapleton in the middle, just to mix it up.
Oh, that's right. You're in the country. Oh,
I love country.
You should check out the Vagabonds. They're out of Nashville. They're fucking amazing. The Vagabonds.
As in Vega Bombs.
Bonds, like bail bonds.
Yeah, like Vagabond, but it's Vagabonds.
I'll check it out. I love me some country.
Yes,
I just listened to Chris Stapleton's new one.
Well, he's one of their inspirations, but
Oh wow,
they're sort of southern rock country, and I think they're all from Alabama, but right now they're out in Nashville. I think they're about to tour Europe, like in a couple of weeks or something. They're great. I'll send you some of their stuff.
maybe like Ella Fitzgerald. I'd love to see her live.
Yeah, nice.
Good.
That's a
Good
very,
call.
very good pick.
Well done.
Right, someone that's yeah. Those are the ones that come out right away.
I like it. So, okay, Ella Fitzgerald, Chris
Ella
Stapleton,
Stapleton,
Beatles,
and
and
the Beatles.
and then Pearl Jam somewhere. Like that would be like some random band, I guess.
Maybe Pearl Jam with Ella.
Oh man, that would be crazy.
Oh my God!
Or Ella Fitzgerald into Pearl Jam with Chris Stapleton.
Wow, you're blowing everybody's mind right now.
Right, I would love to hear them have to, because have you heard Stapleton with
Justin
Timberlake?
No,
oh
who's
my God.
who's that?
Who's Justin? What?
Justin Bieber.
Timberlake.
Justin Bieber. He said.
Justin Long.
Timberlake. By the way, I'm listening to a lot of Timberlake right now because my daughter is a huge fan of the Trolls movie.
So am I.
Dude,
that movie is amazing.
I know. Yeah, Steve doesn't have kids, but I know every single word.
Steve doesn't have kids.
No.
Steve kids are 25 years old.
That's what I'm saying. You don't have kids.
Steve doesn't have kids. Fuck you, I'm old.
Wait,
what?
you are old.
I'm telling you, the music is so... And, he did all the music.
Yeah, I know. I was just listening to it earlier today.
That movie is amazing.
So good. It's really so good.
It's a very good soundtrack. So, but hey, Kevin, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day, and then of course rescheduling.
No worries.
Again,
I'm gonna work on the bad guy played by Clint Howard.
That'd be perfect. And then, like I said, or like me and Steve said, try to make your way down here in Texas and San Antonio, and let's go play some golf. Like I'm in.
I would love it.
We'll have lunch at Dairy Queen.
Yeah, we can pick Dairy Queen up on the way. We can go to the place where I used to bus at. We can go there first.
I'm not eating there though.
Pick up some margaritas or something. It'll be a blast. But no, seriously, we really appreciate you calling in, and I wish you all the best moving forward.
Too.
Is there any place where we can send people, like your Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, anything like that?
At Kevin Rahm on Twitter, at Kevin P. Rahm on Instagram. And I think if you go to my Twitter, it's a link. There's my Instagram name's on there. Okay, yeah, cool. check out Clinical. Check out season 2 of Lethal coming in the fall.
Definitely check those two things out. Clinical is pretty badass. It's a mind blower. It'll blow your mind, and then Lethal Weapon is just.
I think before even Steve had mentioned that we were in talks with having you on the show. I was already kind of having that in my queue, the Clinical. Yeah,
so good.
Because I had seen previews for it somewhere. I don't know where I saw it, but
they did a great job with it. They did a really, really good job with it.
They really did. It was great.
Yeah. So I mean, that's awesome. You're a great dude, and you're a hard worker, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you guys. Look, I never had to shovel the rocks away from the gas explosion.
Or fight vampires like I did.
But I appreciate it.
Well, thanks a lot, Kevin. And
thank you guys.
You have a good night, man. Happy Friday.
Be safe, you too.
Bye-bye.
Good night.